What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about unique passive income ideas. Now, we discuss side gigs a lot on this channel, but I feel like so often whenever we're discussing side gigs, it's always in the context of exchanging your time for money. And this is good in a lot of ways, but it also limits us because at the end of the day, we all only have 24 hours and you can't work more than 24 hours in a single day. So the way around that is through passive income, or income that comes in regardless of how much time, effort, or energy you put into it. So with passive income, you make money when you sleep, when you're watching movies, when you're on vacation, when you're driving around, or even shopping for groceries. So in this video, I want to talk about some unique passive income ideas that you can explore. So let's get started. So in my opinion, I think that there are kind of two schools of thoughts when it comes to passive income. You have the passive income that requires no work, no time, no energy. You literally just put your money into it and it just does the work for you. An example of this type of passive income would be like dividend investing. You invest into the stock market, into dividend yielding stocks, and then you get a return on that each and every month, and it requires literally no effort on your part. On the other hand, there's a different form of passive income that is less passive, but I would probably still consider it a form of passive income. And that style of passive income is the style of passive income that requires upfront work from you. It does require some time commitment, but the income potential is not directly associated to how much time you invest into that project or into that income stream. For example, I would consider a YouTube channel this form of passive income. With YouTube, it requires a lot of time on my part, but all I have to do is make the video, edit the video, and upload the video, and then from there my job is done. That video can make me money day in and day out regardless of what I do. So once a video is published, I can go take a nap and that video will then make me money for weeks or months on end depending on how good the video does. Another example of this would be like Turo. For Turo, I work on the Turo fleet 5 to 10 hours a week, but that income stream is making me money day in and day out, whether I dedicate 5 hours or whether I dedicate 15 hours to it. So that is another form of passive income, though it's definitely not the most passive form. But oftentimes that version of passive income is the best for the majority of people because the barrier to entry to things like Turo, to things like YouTube, are significantly lower than the barrier to entry into dividend yielding stocks. I mean, yeah, you can go and invest money into a dividend yielding stock tomorrow, but the chances of you making life-changing money off of that in the short term is pretty much non-existent. And with that, let's dig into our very first passive income stream. And this is the most passive form of income that we're going to be talking about in this video. And that is a high yield savings account. Now, a high yield savings account is one of those things that doesn't seem like it's a form of income, but it absolutely is, especially if you're somebody that adds money into it on a consistent basis. Now, what a high yield savings account is it's just like a regular checking or savings account, but instead of depositing the money and then having the money just sitting there and doing nothing, you get to make money off of the money that you've deposited. So in the case of like today in December of 2020, you can deposit money into a high yield savings account. And depending on what type of account you have, you could make 1% off of the money that you're deposited. That's 1% more than you would be making if the money was just sitting in a standard checking account. Now, the thing about high yield savings accounts is the fact that the interest rate that you can make off of the money you deposit fluctuates throughout the year. And depending on the economic climate, the interest rate can either go up or it can go down. For today, in December of 2020, the economy is pretty weak because of COVID-19, and as a result, interest rates have gone down, and thus you cannot make as much money as you once could through a high-yield savings account. But once the economy strengthens and once the economy gets better, that interest rate will go back up, and theoretically, you could, in a good economy, make between 2 and 3% off of money that's sitting in a high-yield savings account. Now, the thing that's great about this is the fact that there is no risk, zero risk associated with it if you go with an FDIC-insured bank. So it's very literally free money. And you really don't have to do anything to do it other than deposit your money into the account. Now, to give you guys some perspective, if you opened a high yield savings account today and you deposited $1,000 and you deposited $500 into this high yield savings account every single month for 30 years, at the end of this 30-year period, you would have just about $211,000 deposited in this savings account. $180,000 of that would be your own contributions, so being the money that you physically added in, but $30,000 of that would be the money that you made through interest. So that would be the free money that you made by simply just having your money in that savings account. Now, that's a very conservative estimate because that's assuming that interest rates stay at 1% for the next 30 years, which isn't going to be the case. But that is just kind of a general depiction of how this interest can add up over time. So if you're somebody that has your money sitting in a checking account, if you don't really want to take the interest of stocks or you don't feel comfortable investing in the stock market, then going with a high yield savings account is a really great way to make passive income for doing nothing. The second passive income stream that I have is real estate investing. Now, I am by no means a real estate expert. I have one house and that's all the real estate I have, though it is something that I'm wanting to get actively involved in 2021. Now, when it comes to real estate investing, I think that there are kind of two common ways that you can go about doing this in a relatively passive way. Number one is through Airbnb. Now, Airbnb can be super passive. You could hire a management company to help you manage the unit. You could do electric keypads, which give guests automatic entry when it's time for the reservation. You could hire a cleaning crew to go in and prep the rentals in between reservations. Or theoretically, you could also just do it all yourself and do it very similarly to how I do Turo. Dedicate 5 to 15 hours a week managing your units and then just collect the money from reservations. Alternatively, another option in the world of real estate investing could be long-term tenants, and this is a very common way to invest in rental properties. You could also do this yourself and manage it yourself, almost like a full-time job, or you could go ahead and hire a management company, and you could go in, pay a management company 9%, 10% of your total income, and then they can come in and really do all of the heavy lifting regarding your real estate management. Whichever route you go down, whether it be the Airbnb, long-term rentals, or another avenue that I haven't talked about, real estate investing is a real and legitimate way to make passive income. Now, I'm not going to dive into the details of this a whole lot because, again, I'm not a real estate investor, but this is one of those things that has proven the test of time. And it's one of those things that if you talk to successful people, if you talk to extremely wealthy people, more often than not, they invest in some form of real estate. And because of that, I think that this is an excellent passive income stream. The only downside is that there is a barrier to entry, being that you do have to provide a down payment for a rental property that you purchase. Now, the next passive income stream that I want to talk about is selling information. Now, this is something that gets a bad reputation, and I kind of feel as though it's not really warranted. Now, what this basically means is it's basically selling courses, selling information online in the form of courses, sometimes in the form of podcasts or YouTube channels or Patreons, whatever the case is, it's just selling information that you've gathered online in an online space. Now, I think the reason why this oftentimes gets a negative reputation is because of the fact that there's a lot of slimy people out there selling online courses. And I feel like there's a lot of people who feel as though they've been scammed from an online course. But the fact is that I think that the people scamming others in the form of online courses, they are the ones that get all the attention, but they really don't make up the majority of course sellers. And there really is a lot of opportunity out there in creating content and then selling that content to people that want to learn about that specific subject. I'm a big believer that one of the big keys to becoming successful is to figuring out what you're really good at and then figuring out how to monetize that information. You've spent your life learning something, whether it's an instrument, a sport, a hobby, whatever the case is, you've spent your life getting good at something. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity in figuring out how to monetize that and how to make money off of that skill set. And a lot of times that is in the form of an online course. It's in the form of a YouTube channel. It's in the form of a blog. And those are all ways to make passive income. So if you're somebody who wants to make passive income and maybe the other options we've discussed in this video don't interest you, I would encourage you to sit down with a pen and paper and brainstorm what you're good at. Figure out what you've gained a lot of knowledge on in the last few years or in your lifetime, and then try to brainstorm a few ways that you can turn that into a passive income stream. And I'd be willing to bet that you can come up with a variety of different ideas, whether it be a course, a blog, a YouTube channel, a website, a podcast, whatever the case is. There is so much opportunity out there in the world of selling information, and it doesn't always have to be slimy. The next passive income stream is one that I think is relatively new, and that is peer-to-peer lending. Now, what peer-to-peer lending is that whenever somebody needs money, whether it's for a house, for a business, for a car, whatever the case is, they oftentimes go to a bank in order to obtain those funds. But what peer-to-peer lending does is it cuts the bank out of the picture. And instead of having a bank loan you money, you have one of your peers loan you money. Now, the thing about peer-to-peer lending is the way that I kind of view it is like it's investing in somebody without having equity in whatever you're investing in. And the way that you would make money off of this passive income stream is through the interest of the money that you lent out. Now, whenever it comes to peer-to-peer lending, there are very big pros and very big cons. Number one is that it's very, very passive, and you can make a lot of money over time if you charge a good interest rate and if you go with a safe bet as far as a lendee goes. The downside, though, is pretty big, and that is in the case that somebody doesn't pay back the loan, you're out of that money. So you do have to be very calculated and very strategic in the way that you loan out your funds. Now, there are platforms platforms out there that facilitate peer-to-peer lending transactions. That way there is some peace of mind. But the fact is that the risk of this person never paying the money back is always there. And it's always a risk that will happen in the world of peer-to-peer lending. And so because of that, I think that this is an interesting passive income stream, though I think I'll be personally passing on it. Honestly, there are so many different forms of passive income out there that the ones we discussed today don't even scratch the surface. But I do think that this topic is incredibly interesting because I think that passive income is the best way to increase your income, increase your net worth, and thus propel you forward without necessarily trading your time for money. Because like I said, we all only have 24 hours a day, and it's not a matter of how much you can work, but how smart you can be with your time, with your money, and with your investments. But I would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.